So my name is Rachael Lappan. I'm a microbiologist at Monash University in Melbourne, Australia. So SAFE is a special research initiative funded by the Australian Research Council. It stands for Securing Antarctica's Environmental Future, which is what we're trying to do with all of the research that we're doing across many institutions. It's probably the most pristine place on the planet, and it's very unique, largely untouched, and so we want to collect samples here because it's really very different to anywhere else on Earth, and because it's so important to understand how things work here, how life works here, how the climate works here, because this is part of the world that we really want to protect. So what we've been collecting here has been soil samples, and it's probably the most pristine environment that we can get to, to look at microbial life on this continent that has been separated and largely kept pristine compared to microbes that we would find anywhere else on the planet. That offers something quite unique to tell us about how life has been living in these really cold, dry environments, and how it's diverged from the microbes that we find elsewhere on the planet. Yeah, so this year I'm helping Sophie with her project on bacteria in soils. So I'm helping her collect the soils and do the gas experiments back at camp so that we can study bacteria that are getting their energy from the atmosphere. And then for my own research down here, I'm really scoping out my ability to collect air samples. So I work on bacteria in the atmosphere. I'm interested in bacteria that live in the atmosphere and how they survive up there. And Antarctica is a really unique place to look at that because I want to understand how much of what's living in the air comes up from below and how much of it has come from a longer distance. So I'm scoping out how to do atmospheric microbiology in Antarctica. Yeah, well, so Antarctica is actually pretty much the best place on the planet to find meteorites because of these meteorite stranding zones. So meteorites are equally likely to fall anywhere on the planet, but in Antarctica when they land and they sort of get buried by snow and they sort of travel through the ice sheet that's continually moving outwards, when the ice bumps up against the back of a mountain range and gets pushed upwards, and then you have the katabatic winds that are sort of ablating the surface, you get all of these meteorites kind of becoming concentrated in these blue ice areas at the back of mountains. And so that's really the best place to look for them because they become concentrated there and they're just really easy to see because it's a very black rock on a blue or a white background. Oh yeah, so Amy is an ecologist and she's looking for springtails, which are small invertebrates, so tiny little bugs with legs that usually live near mosses, so places where it's, there's some moisture that can support some life, but often you find them under rocks. So she's been turning over a whole lot of rocks looking for springtails because she's interested in their evolutionary history and looking at their genomes to see when populations on nunataks or on the mountains were last in contact or how long they've been isolated from each other. Yeah, no, I think just two things, how far you can see and how quiet it is. Because as you look across the mountain, you look at these mountains and they seem so close, like you feel like you can just walk up to them, but they're tens of kilometres away. So perspective is really unusual because you have nothing for scale. There's no trees for scale, there's no buildings for scale. And when we sample and we're just sitting there quietly, you can't hear, and there's no noise at all. It's completely silent, which is, really unique and meditative.
Yeah. Yeah, the Wolfsvang is 40 kilometres away from here.
Yeah,
it's
right.
crazy, eh?
And it looks like you can walk to it. Because it's the same when we were camping at the finger. We were camping at the base of the finger and you look up and it's right there.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, we can walk there because I can see it, it's right there, but it's 4 kilometres away. And it was a whole day just to get there and back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think so. I mean, what we've been doing here with White Desert has really worked because it's the facilities and the logistics that help to get us in to Antarctica, and to parts of Antarctica where we don't have research stations that might have been hard to reach. We can get in by other means, and so I think it can be a very good relationship, especially where we get to interact with the tourists as well, because I think part of their experience in Antarctica should be to understand the science that we're doing and the issues that the continent is facing with climate change. And I think that sort of comes as the whole experience. So if they can go away having seen the continent and perhaps appreciating more how precious it is and how much more we need to know about how we can protect it and preserve it, I think that really works hand in hand.